What is up, bros? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. I've been busy, been really busy. Went to Colombia. The Andes. I'm gonna tell you something. I did not really anticipate what the Andes would be like, and pain in the ass. Complete pain in the ass. You want to go somewhere, you can see it. It's just gonna take 3 hours. Like, it's just like up, down, to the side. Freaking motorcycles are riding down the middle of the lane. You're driving like one lane, next lane, motorcycle, like that white dot, that's their lane. Like, and they're just mirrors, just going like this in between. It's just nuts. It's a cool spot. My buddy bought or built a finca, which is basically a small farm. And the culture down there, at least like where I was at Medellin, the culture down there is cool. And they all kind of, like, the wealthier folks kind of leave the city area or leave their traditional jobs per se and kind of go out to the fincas in the weekends, and it's neat. I like it. But it was, man, the Andes are such a pain in the ass. So we did that. We've been building this house. Beautiful, but a pain in the ass. Been building this house, almost done. I totally underestimated how much it would actually take, time, resource, money, all the things to build a house. Like, it's just, there's lots of little things I just didn't think about. I built a tiny house previously. That's how we built this house. I built a tiny house, lived in that, saved money. We bought land, we developed it slowly, put a well on it, put a driveway on it, put pipes on it, started planting food forest stuff on it. You know, got cash together, put together like the beginning parts of a house, and then built it as we went. And just like a little piece at a time, pay it as we went. Didn't use a construction loan or anything like that. It just took longer and more than I thought it was going to take, which is, you know, pretty typical of anything construction-wise. But this was quite a task. I'd rather do what I did for the last 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, than you know, pay on a mortgage for 30 years and like not have what I want. So anyway, I've been doing that. And then I've been rethinking or thinking through, like, what's my content going to be like, you know? Because I have stits where I'm on YouTube, where I'm like, all right, consistently doing it, then I'm not. I really enjoy YouTube. It's my favorite platform. I just have to figure out what is the most helpful for the audience. You know, what is the, what are the subjects, you know, what are my lanes, per se? And I started an additional channel at some point, haven't done much with it, but it was just on finance. I really enjoy the finance and economics sector. Like, I've got a degree in that stuff. I like that stuff. It's really interesting. The macro picture right now is really, really interesting. But then I'm in my industry of like trees, land clearing, recycling, farming stuff. Where does that go? Can I put them on the same channel? Can I just put them here? You know, what should I do with that? So that's what I've been kind of thinking through. Is I'd like to have like a big content map. Keith Kalfas actually told me a long time ago, he's like, when I started my channel, I planned everything out for like the first, I don't know, maybe a year or two. But he said he planned everything out. And I like that idea. As far as like you have an idea of where you're going. That's been my issue with the Onsite Trav channel. Is like, well, where do we want to go here? Like, what do we want to do? And so I've been working that out. I would love to hear from you guys in the comments what type of content you enjoy the most, because we've touched everything. We've touched political theory. I worked in DC for a time and met a lot of great DC people. There are great DC people. They work at like private think tanks and stuff, and so I met a lot of those guys. A lot of them still work there, so I get kind of a cool scoop with them and an interesting perspective. I like talking about this stuff because we're at a spot where a lot of this stuff is it's like really coming to a head. You know, you have this long-term debt cycle, which is the cool finance part that I like. It's 80 to 100 year cycle. You've got short-term business cycles. You guys are familiar with that. These are caused by these magic money printing homies, which is not the technical, like some people on the web here would be like, George Gammon would be like, well, technically the Federal Reserve can't print their money, but they can. You know, like, well, technically they loan banknotes into existence, but look, here's the deal. It's like, there's a group of people at this point in time that can literally just print value and like guys, they can print fake things and extract value from you and I, and that causes this massive wealth gap. And so if you own assets, you're seeing those assets go up in price. If you own like gold, silver, Bitcoin, stocks, real estate, you see those assets are going up. And then if you don't, you're seeing your wages stay flat-ish. And then those other things are becoming more expensive: food, consumables, cars, etc. Maybe we've just crossed the line on cars. Cars might wobble back for a minute. And I think we saw a little preview in 2020 of what this decade's going to look like. Like, if you guys remember, everything like shut down, which is really weird too, right? Like we had this ability, like for the I guess the president, the sitting president, to just shut down the country. I guess they can do that. They can do. Governments have done lots of things throughout the years. They've actually are the largest mass murderers on the planet. Governments. No entity on the planet has killed more human beings. None. But people love them. They beg for them, you know. And that would be the first thing if we all went to a tropical island. There's 1,000 of us. The first thing you guys would do would be create a freaking another government. That would be the first thing you'd do. Like, well, I think that John over here should reside over the throne, and you know, figure out how the guys picking coconuts should be picking them, and obviously 10% of all their labor should go to John because he has to sit on the throne all day, you know. But if we were going to have a system, monarchy would be the better of all the systems. That's why it's in the Bible. That's why there's not democracy in the Bible. You know, we have to protect our democracy. But the thing is that, and this is my struggle with the content, is do we talk about this stuff? We kind of could, you know? And so I'm like, how do I blend that in tactfully? I need your feedback. I need to know what you guys, because some of you guys love hearing that stuff. Some of you guys, I like sprinkling the finance in there because it affects all of our lives. I know a lot of people don't geek out over it like I do, but it affects all of our lives. For example, we live in a time now, this is interesting. Let's just take the two ends of the coin. Cryptocurrency, fiat currency. Fiat being by decree, like forced down your throat, like the dollar, like the paper dollar. And then cryptocurrency, super volatile in the short term, like up, down, oh my gosh, 50% up, 50% down, but always increasing over time. As of so far, for the last 15 years, it's always increasing for over time. Fiat, very stable. It up or down 3, 5, 10, 15% a year. 15% a year. On the things you and I buy, 15% a year. If it's real estate, it's 25% right now. But like, you know, but you know, 5 to 15%. But over time, falling. You know, like a soda used to cost 5 cents. It doesn't cost 5 cents now. You shouldn't be drinking that stuff anyway. But you know, it used to have real materials in it, like cane sugar. And now it has all fake stuff, like corn syrup. And so that's my interest in farming. Because we live in a time where we live in the greatest empire that's ever been. We don't actually treat it like an empire, which is really sad. Like, there's just no way to run an empire, you know? Like, at least in Russia or any of the other, like the Turkish Empire, they looked at it and said, hey, so we're running an empire here. Over here, we're just running the GAE. The GAE is the gay American empire. And we can't really say that it's an empire, but it is an empire, even though we don't conquer anything. There's lots of reasons. Like, we should. If we're gonna have an empire, we should do empire things. You know, we should look at the continent of Africa and be like, we should own that. I don't know, like, can't be imperialist, but like that's how all the other guys did it. You know, that was how all these things were built. So I enjoy the political theater and theory. I enjoy the finance. I enjoy, you know, I do what I do trade-wise. I have trees and land clearing because I really like the recycling process, the regenerative process of taking material and turning it into soil, turning that soil into food. I just had our first batch come out of the freeze dryer, which is a new tech, kind of like, if you guys seen like space ice cream, you know, like they take ice cream sandwiches and turn it into like dry, like they freeze dry it. Playing with a freeze dryer right now. Just freeze dried some bananas, next level. I mean, I can ship them to you guys now. Next level. No poison. I don't know if you guys are on the, I got off the tee to the Jaquite this year. That was the one thing I did in 24 is I got off the tee to the Jaquite. And I took some Chiquita bananas, put them in the freezer about 6 weeks. They're black, totally black. Took our stuff. I've got them in there for 9 months so far, like my oldest batch. Beautiful. They look like they just came off the tree, like freaking beautiful. It's amazing when you don't gas fruit, what you know, how fresh it really is. But anyway, freeze drying would allow me to mail it to anyone watching. You could literally just mail it, which makes me think, and that's kind of my next move, is I really enjoy the farming stuff, and I think that that's just a massive demographic moving forward in the next 10 years. So where I'm gravitating towards is boomers are getting out of industry in general over the next 10 years. Most American farmers, or 95% of American farm assets are changing hands in the next 10 years because the median age of the American farmer at present, 62 to 63 years of age. An industry in decline, 34 years of age or over. Industry in decline. So farming is broke, busted, and disgusted. Like it's a rough industry. It's been basically just hammered for the last 30 years. It's been in a bear market. I'm bullish about that. No millennials are really in the space yet, but some of them want to be. I talk to a lot of people who are like, man, if we could just like homestead and do our own thing and work from home and work job remote and have an on-farm job and an off-farm job and like play this out, homeschool our kids. I hear this a lot. So to me, I see a renaissance kind of about to happen in that space. There might be, I just was involved, unfortunately not on the front end of the transaction, but there was a $19 million farm that just sold in our town. I bought a bunch of blueberries and things like that from them. Sweet real estate transaction. And then afterwards, they had all this farm equipment, couple $1 million there of just stuff that's got to move. Granddad's old Lincoln. I mean, just name it. They had the old Bronco. They had like a Bronco with like 7,000. I'm like talking like the Bronco from the 60s. They had all these things there. And this deal, you know, one generation's getting out. The kids are kind of interested, but not really. They're selling the last 300 acres. They started with like 3,000 acres. And so these deals are going to happen a lot. So I'm looking down the road going like, how do I play a role in this? And really, how do we create a system? Because when you get really into farming, you realize it's illegal for me to grow a cow, butcher the cow, sell you the cow. Now, if you're a member, that's different. If we're like a golf club membership, that's cool. Members can have access. But if you're not a member, then you're a customer, then the FDA needs to get involved, you know? The Fear and Death Administration, they need to show up. They got to get paid. And then they make you do stupid things to it, like pasteurizing milk, which is terrible for you. If you guys are not drinking raw milk, you're missing out. Like, it's just... People have been doing it for thousands of years. The last 50, we got fake and gay, and we started pasteurizing milk. It's freaking awful for you. People are like, oh, I'm lactose intolerant. Are you sure? And it's probably just because you're not good like with boiled milk when they boil all the enzymes out of it, you know? I mean, there's this guy named Rothschild. He spoke in front of Parliament twice in his entire life. He's the most powerful guy in Europe. And the second time he spoke was on pasteurized milk. That was what he wanted. First time was on banking. Second time was pasteurized milk. Interesting. Not, you know, I don't... It's just interesting that they would have an interest in that stuff. But anyway, I think our food supply is just bankrupt. And I think that we could also sell it in a different currency. I think we could sell it in dollars, real dollars. And the dollars, real dollars, silver dollars, correlate with fiat dollars very easy. So they transact well. So we could use the spot price to determine prices. So if you wanted to have no food inflation, great. You just pre-buy your dollars. You just stack them up. And, you know, for example, we just grew some meat chickens. I got to show you guys what we've been up to. We just harvested our first batch of meat chickens. Got another batch about to happen now. When we got done weighing them and per pound and everything like that, it was an ounce of chicken. When I go back, or sorry, an ounce of silver per chicken. When I go back and look at, we got a researcher helping me with this. She's a writer. She's written some incredible. She's written 7 books on. I need to interview her on this channel. Really, like. On like Florida development, like from the time that like Columbus showed up, DeSoto, all the way to the 80s, and like, you know, the Native American tribes that lived here. I mean, incredible stuff that she's got. In her books, she cites food prices. I go back and backtrack them. I'm asking her now if she could help me research it. You backtrack food prices in silver, they're pretty spot on. So I'm just wondering if there's a way that we could have real food and I could shift my business model in that direction, but we'll see. So I need to know from you guys what type of content you guys enjoy, and then where we go from here. Because now that the office is done, and I finished the office last night, I got to dust the desk, because the desk is dust in there, and then vacuum, like, or mop the new floor, whatever, and like we're good. Like, new studio's there, my internet is hooked up, we've been in transitioning, and we've just been working around the clock. That's just what we've been doing. I'm trying to get everything done before the selection. That was just my goal. My goal was to get it all done before the selection. You guys are like, what's the selection? It's the part where they pick what they want to do, and then drag you along at the expense of billions of dollars and make you feel like you're part of the process, but you and I both know you're not part of the process. And I think that that's interesting, because we live at a time where I think all of that is about to unwind in a big kind of way. I mean, I would go as far as to say revolutionarily unwind. Happens every 250 years. I would put it somewhere in the 30s, so somewhere in the 2030s. But a lot of things are just about the unwind. The dollar carry trade, I mean, just like a lot of things, like just the idea that people are, well, I mean, the dollar is power. We'll hit that in another subject. I mean, but just the idea that we have the ability to print things have a Cantillon effect where the people that get that printed units first are able to extract the value first. Then everyone has to pay the universal tax of decreased value on their purchasing power, and that creates economic distortions, which I think are about to come to a head. Because I think that we're in a spot now where the distortions are getting such, the wealth gap is getting such, the food is fake and gay, so are the people, and I just think that all of this stuff kind of is going to have issues grinding, kind of like tectonic plates, like unless there's got to be, like, there's too much friction. And I think that we're in the calm before the storm of all of that stuff, and I'm trying to figure out how would I benefit my subscribers to where they really, really get a lot out of content that I bring them. I really, really get it. I've even played with the idea of doing some sort of membership thing with subscribers and going mobile. I've thought about that a lot, where I'm like, man, like, you guys hear about stuff like the border, for example, like how sweet would it be to just fly there, like right now, and just get boots on the ground and just get real information. Go all the way down to the Darien Gap. I mean, we're down there in Colombia, like not in the Darien Gap, but like go all the way there, see what's going on, interview the dudes. Are there really military age males coming through? Like, why are they coming? I would love to just, maybe do that stuff. Are they eating cats and dogs in Springfield? Like, we should go. We should check it out. I know other people are doing that right now, but anyway, I'm thinking through how could I turn this into a business model, like besides just a hobby, because the last 10 years on YouTube here, it's been a hobby. And so I'm thinking through how could I make this a thing and bring value to you guys. I need those suggestions, and liking and commenting and subscribing just immensely helps. I mean, YouTube basically looks at it and be like, how valuable is this content? A lot of you guys have looked at it and been like, this channel should be 100,000 subscribers. Well, the truth of it is I'd have to put out content consistently to make that happen. I do think that we can do it though. So I need ideas from you guys. I will see you down in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.